years, that's the way it's going to happen. And I think that's within the realm of possibility. The technology is there, no question about the technology. Regulatory structures are there in a handful of countries. That has to be spread more. And another thing that a different part of our team has supported and created is an entity called the Alliance for Financial Inclusion, which is based in Bangkok. And the primary purpose of that organization, you can look it up, afi.org, is for South-South exchanges among regulators and policymakers. So if the central banker in Brazil has figured out, how the banks in that country can have an agent in every village, then perhaps the banker, maybe if we're lucky, the central bank in India will also, say, oh, well, if they know how to, maybe it'll work. So we also have to work at the regulatory level. So that's a big nut that has to get cracked. And building that agent network, I think that's where it's going to be.
I'm just going to correct you. It's afi-global.org.
Oh, thank you. afi-global.org.
I work with them, so that's okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to speak a little bit from the perspective where I work. I don't do retail microfinance. I do basically client-focused aspects of microfinance, particularly looking at the demand side and financial education. So, and I'm going to just talk where I think financial education is going to go in the next few years. When we got started 7 years ago with the support of Citi Foundation, who have been an important partner in the development of our whole agenda, we were the only player, and we were operating in a world in which when I talked about financial education, what financial capabilities wasn't on the agenda then. People looked at me like I was crazy. Said, really? So when I look at how far we've traveled on this topic in the last 7 years and look forward, I see this really becoming much more mainstream as an issue. People have realized that one of the premises in the microfinance field was that if you open your doors, the clients will come. And there was another implicit assumption that people really understood the products you were offering. And reality has showed that neither of those two really happen. So financial education has a role to play in helping build the financial capabilities of people to become much more informed consumers. And what I think is happening is we're moving, in the next 5 years, what I see is moving from little projects and little programs to much more broader approach. And in the time that I've been at it, the expansion and objectives has also changed. So when we started our objective, the objective was, let's build up the personal financial management capacity of the poor, low-income households in developing countries. Now we see a broadening of objectives as new players have entered. We see institutions looking at financial education as a mechanism to promote uptake and usage and transactions of financial products. And that brings the whole idea of what are the messages into the realm of marketing and social marketing. And the third area where I see is the policy interest stemming from building financial capabilities from the perspective of building financial inclusion. How do you bring unbanked people into a banking system which they don't trust, aren't familiar with, and hasn't been very welcoming for them? And I agree with Joyce that I see branchless banking, both cards but particularly phones, as being a way to leapfrog that distrust and using a bit of education to do that. And the other area which is gaining prominence and will continue to be important is consumer protection, which nobody has mentioned here.
That's true.
But consumer protection is a big issue that's rising to the forefront. And as we offer people a wider variety of products, we're seeing cases of predatory lending, and we're seeing a lot of abuse. We're seeing other problems that arise. And we need to think about consumer protection from the point of view of the regulator and the central banker, from the point of view of the institution and ethical behaviour, but also, and the voice that gets lost, is the perspective of the consumer. How do I exercise my rights and responsibilities? And let's not forget that most poor people in the financial system operate in a world in which the credit officer or the institution is boss, and they're in a subservient position. So we have to think about not just making them informed, helping them to become informed consumers, but also ones who are empowered to take on the rights and responsibilities of using financial services.
Okay, and I suppose I'm a panelist also, so I should give you our blue sky perspective. I think I'll go obviously with the alternative distribution channels. It's a kind of a no-brainer. It's hard to do it, but we're already seeing some great success in. This week we launched our savings offer in Lahore in Pakistan using POS devices that are online, and it's really fantastic. And these women will have access to a bank account for the first time in their lives, and an ATM card. And in order to get the bank account, they need an ID card. And when you get an ID card in Pakistan, that means that you can vote, you can register your inheritance, you can drive a car, you can get a passport. So these are unintended empowerment consequences of these kind of things. And I think the more we work hard and focus on the prize, which is how do we empower people through financial services, we will see how innovation can drive that agenda. And I know one thing about the Gates Foundation is that they have an 8-year-old African rural girl as the person that they keep in mind when they're doing things, and that's very much, I think, the flavour of what we're trying to do. I think we're going to see a lot of different product combinations which are going to be useful in terms of building pathways out of poverty. So linking savings to credit for housing, for instance, or insurance, or indeed long-term savings for other purposes. And then I think on your financial ed point, I think social communications is going to be big. So we're going to see mass media involved in edutainment and so on, and I think that offers us tremendous opportunity to really shape the way we all, as human beings, operate around money. And there's no mystery here. It's just people need some. We all need support. I mean, if we all had saved since we were 2 and put it in a 401k, we'd all be better off. So it's not just the poor, right? It's all of us. So I'd like to thank the panelists very much, and also Citibank, City Foundation, excuse me, and Windsor Banking for putting this together.